they drizzled it all across. Is that the right word? Drizzled?
I think they don't
liquid.
Megan Fox just emailed me. Sorry.
Okay, we'll read it for the class.
It's for a beeper party. Anyway.
No. Now we need to know.
You can't just leave
You
that.
need to read that email.
Just park that on the side and move on.
From Megan Fox.
Is it the real Megan Fox or is it like...
Well, she is real.
Yo, what is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marques.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
This was WWDC week. Apple had their software announcement festivities and what I don't know what you want to call it.
Party,
It's a
baby.
developer conference, but it's also like unveiling a bunch of new stuff.
Rager.
And there's lots to talk about. There's liquid glass. There is iPad turning into a computer finally. You guys are
Stop. I didn't do anything.
He didn't say it yet. Fake workout buddies.
Everything's computer.
Everything is a computer. Lots of thoughts. This is the place where we give all of our thoughts. We've also, you said you have the developer beta
On everything.
On everything?
On everything.
Okay, perfect. I've gotten some hands-on time with iOS, iPadOS, macOS, all of these developer betas, the liquid glass across all of them. I have a video I'll show you of my new scanned persona
Oh.
from the Vision Pro. That got more interest than I thought it would.
I wanna see
have
it.
the
I wanna
video.
see it, yeah.
I'll show you guys the video first up.
Let's do
of
it.
my new
We're just going
persona.
straight into it.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Subscribe if you want to see Marquez's new persona.
Yeah.
Or just
What
watch this
animal
video.
are you?
This is my new
Your new high-def
visionOS, my visionOS 26 persona.
realistic memoji.
Okay. This is my new Vision Pro persona.
That's what you just said.
I feel like I'm
This-
looking in the mirror.
Was this
It
taken
is
at the,
clearly
like in a
higher
briefing?
resolution and better looking than.
So the textures are
You're-
better. The face shape is not quite right.
Your nose is very broad.
Do your lips
and
move
your face is wider.
accurately?
I think the skin tones and little sub variations in the skin tone and texture are more accurate, and then the rest is about the same.
Yeah, the face shape is like wider than your actual.
I
face
think
shape.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
The
little bit.
cutout also reminds me of what was the Google thing?
Starline?
Starline. It reminds me of like Starline 1 cutout of like that's pretty good, but the more you look at it, the more blocky and like chopped off, like old bad portrait mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, Marquez, could you drop that video in the Slack for the big ballers?
Already uploading?
Sweet.
Yes. So yeah, I guess we can talk about any number of these OSs. They are all labeled version 26 now. So
Right.
if you were thinking, oh, this is only the third Vision OS, we know. It's just they call it Vision OS 26 now because they're all 26. We talked about this last week, how it feels futuristic even though it comes out during 2025.
I mean, who doesn't want iOS 26 at WWDC 25?
Exactly.
On the
easy to
Galaxy
remember.
S25 Ultra.
Someone brought up an interesting point. Are they going to call the new iPhone the iPhone 26 now? Because it's going to be a little awkward to have the iPhone 17
I don't
running
think so.
iOS 26.
They're going to call it the iPhone 9.
Oh, God. Well, we
Well,
skipped
it didn't
9.
match before though.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
I don't think they will.
Okay, so iPhone 17, iOS 26. We'll see.
Yes.
We should place bet. No, we'll see. Yeah, I guess we'll start.
Well, speaking of a bet,
yeah,
what was our over under last week for how many times they'd
Under
say
4,
Siri?
I
I think
think.
it was
It was
4.
4.5 or something.
And I said under.
it turns out they said the word Siri 2 times total during the entire 90-minute presentation, that main keynote.
It was right off the riff.
And it was right at the beginning and it was back to back, and then they just didn't say the word again.
They like weirdly went, here's all the things Apple Intelligence brought. And there was like this big list that looked really impressive at first, but really it was a lot of very simple things. And then I have the quote here. It's just, we introduce enhancements that makes Siri more natural, more helpful. And as we've shared, we're continuing our work to deliver more features to Siri to make it even more personal. This work needed more time to reach our high quality bar, and we look forward to sharing more in the coming year.
Yeah. So there was an interview that was done with Craig Federighi by Tom's Guide that is it's like 30 minutes long. It's very good. You should go watch it. But he talks about it more in depth in there. And he effectively said they had 2 architectures for like the AI Siri, and architecture 1 was working, but it wasn't like the architecture wasn't implemented across the whole system or something like that. And so it was working and it was work for most things, but it didn't meet their quality standards. And he said as soon as they realized they needed to use the second architecture, they knew it was going to take way longer. Yeah. And they immediately told everybody it's not ready.
So. I heard a similar answer from Craig talking to Joanna Stern in a Wall Street Journal video. Something about stage 1 was good enough to demo. Stage 2 took way too long.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, this is basically all we got as far as them addressing Siri in their main presentation, or at least the shortcomings of Apple Intelligence in the main presentation. And then they quickly moved on to just showing a ton of other stuff, which, in my opinion, was a lot. It was quite a bit. I think it was enough to have some thoughts and some meat to chew on while we also wait for the rest of Apple Intelligence stuff and more AI features.
I think the way that they addressed it was actually very smart because they kind of took the like bad is forever and delay is temporary approach, just saying like, we want this to be good. We have quality standards. Just wait for it. I think that's always the best way to delay things, honestly.
Sure.
How it affects their stock price, I have no idea.
It didn't do very well, I don't think, when it got announced.
You know, that's how it is. Anyway.
Well, we could talk about any number of these 26 versions of OS first, but I think the one that most people want to talk about is iOS 26.
Yeah.
So we should probably just jump in there. So
liquid
glass everywhere. Liquid glass is the new aesthetic that is specifically the transparent and refractive, almost material design of all of these buttons and toggles and materials, the lock screen, the clock, the fonts, the windows, the everything.
Yeah.
And it's taking after a lot of what we've seen in Vision Pro. So I am mixed on it. I've seen screenshots of it that look really good.
Yeah.
I've seen screenshots of it that look really bad.
Yeah.
I think the parts that look really good to me are like extra clean and look pretty minimal, and they're like buttons hiding out of the way and nice animations and things pop in and out, and the physics are nice, and I'm sure the haptics match.
Yeah.
The parts that look really bad are, okay, so there's this thing, and I talked about this briefly in videos. It's not super complicated. When you're editing a video and you're putting text in it, you try to find like a clean place in the video to put the text, right? And if you don't have any clean place to put the video, you can put a little background, like a little soft white or soft black, so that you can put the text on it and it's contrasty and it's readable. If you don't, you can't read the text very well. And so with all this transparency, there are many instances that I saw where Apple is trying to do this really clever, like dynamic switching of light on dark background and dark on light background. So you'll scroll past a dark album art cover.
Yeah.
And all the UI elements that you have like floating in this glass above it turn light so that they stay readable.
Yeah.
And then you go past it to some white empty space and all of that stuff flips to dark so that it stays readable. And they try to do this really quickly and smoothly so that you don't really notice, but it's always readable. But there are so many instances of like scrolling or being halfway between a dark and a light where things just look weird and hard to read.
Yeah, it's definitely relying a lot on the system to acknowledge what's on the screen.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm on the first developer beta, and it's not bugging right now, probably because I have this like dark widget near the top. When that dark widget is not there, most of the time, the text it's almost unreadable. It actually darkens the background to allow it to be a little more readable. I think one of the primary problems right now that they may change once they do more developer betas is that the text is white on top of a mostly white translucent background on top of a light background. Yeah. So it darkens the background automatically, but it doesn't always do that. And honestly, it's been not doing that most of the time. And I only think it's doing that because I have a black widget that's counting down right now.
I think,
our designers were very surprised when they first saw that. They're like, that does not meet the like contrast standards or whatever that they went to school for.
It's bold. It's bold. It strikes me as a design that a lot of people are not going to copy. Some definitely will. They always do. But like Apple showed an all clear, all glass home screen setup where you have whatever wallpaper you want, and then all of your icons are clear, all your widgets are clear, everything is clear. That doesn't feels like a skin like I installed on top of my phone.
Everyone was comparing it to like old Android skins from like 10 years ago.
Yes, it's the look of the year. I don't know if this is gonna age very well. I don't want an all clear setup. I mean, it's cool if you love your wallpaper, but like I need to be able to read the icons and the text. So yeah, that didn't look great to me.
Liquid glass in general, I think, is like very technically beautiful and impressive.
Yeah.
And you can see like the light bending around certain elements and things like that, and like light refracting, and it's awesome to like look at. But practically on a phone, it's like so distracting. Like it's so much.
I thought for a lot of the things, besides the like transparent on transparent one, looked good. Like the dark mode icons that still had that like sheen to it and a little bit of like depth. I thought those looked like, I think there was a dark mode photos like icon that looked really, really good.
Yeah.
And like just looking at David's phone right now, he's going through it. When you had the just your lock screen up, like the background pieces looking, once it like opens up and it kind of has this like sheen to the edges of all the background pieces, and the time fits really nicely, and that looks really good.
Yeah.
But then the transparent on transparent is the one we're all looking at because it's the most obvious. I think that looks terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are new icon designs across the board. There's a new, I mean, we'll get to other OSs in a second, but there's a new camera icon. There's a new phone icon, slightly different looking icons that all still look familiar, but are just a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say it looks a lot like iOS 7, which I'm kind of digging in a strange way. I can kind of acknowledge that the design is not
Can I see that real quick?
fantastic, or like it's not really what people expect for right now in design history. But I do like that it's opinionated, because now we have Material 3 Expressive, which is very opinionated, and we have this, which is very opinionated. The surprise that I had was
not opinionated, rebellious. Remember.
right. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Yeah,
I'm sorry, dude.
no, it's okay. It's okay. It is more cartoony than I expected. Because
Bubbles, a lot of bubbles.
just like the icons and
Remember
shapes,
the
The
SpongeBob
icon
bubble boy?
shapes, they look really big on your.
they are big.
Okay, that in
well,
itself
because that's an
feels
option.
cartoony. Okay,
That's an option.
I need you guys to Google SpongeBob Bubble Buddy.
We don't
no,
have to.
yeah.
we
don't
I
have to.
I
I know
promise.
exactly.
You can picture it? Yeah. That's the new control.
Pretty much, yeah.
Was it Ellis who said this should have been called stained glass? I think you said that.
No.
yesterday.
Glass would have been sick.
Well, you could have taken credit for it because it makes way more sense.
Not my
But
style.
I don't know. Photos app looks great. I actually think that Spotify app looks really good.
Yeah.
But I mean, my favorite part about this is every time any company tries to make all icons on a homepage look the same, there's always a couple apps that just don't match it. And I've seen a bunch of people post stuff already, like the ChatGPT app is just still a plain white app.
Yeah.
And the minute one icon doesn't match all the other ones, none of them match.
Yeah.
It happens every time.
They also, so I think it was last year that they introduced the tinted icons, or was that 2 years ago?
I think it might have been 2 years
Maybe it
ago.
was 2 years ago. And I think that's even more of a case of like in like one or two instances you can make it look decent, but otherwise it looks terrible. They also introduced this new clear one that they decided to highlight a lot for some reason.
Yeah.
It's hard to distinguish anything. I do not know what they were thinking with that.
No, yeah, I think that's the one we were saying. Like, that one makes the least sense out of all of it.
Yeah.
It's the most eye-catching. It's the reason everyone used it in their thumbnail.
It's going to age the fastest.
It looks bad though. Like you can't like in all the thumbnails. I'm like, I don't know what app that is.
Yeah.
You know, it's just confusing.
This is also maybe, and we can move on from it in a second, but this may also be a thing where when app developers who have third-party apps, they update their app icons, maybe they'll be a little bit more legible, because as of right now, Apple's own apps, they've designed for this. Yeah. And if they're not designed for this, then they can be automatically converted, but maybe they aren't as contrasty as they could be.
Right.
So, well, we can give it time. It's a public beta, or it's a developer beta now. It's very early.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I also want to say that like using their stock wallpapers, all this stuff looks good, but like using your own wallpapers, it looks much worse.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
It looks much worse.
Legibility is going to be challenging.
I think that they designed some wallpapers that are just like a couple of colors that are also glassy, and everything kind of works well together, and they're dynamic so that it gets darker in certain times. But when you use your own wallpapers, it's like... Ugh.
It's like remember when they first introduced the notch, all their wallpapers were very dark on the top, so you couldn't see it. They know what they're doing.
Oh, they know
for
what they're
sure.
doing.
They know the things that aren't quite perfect and how to make them look fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you put a picture of your kid up and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
I, Ellis, also watched. I was watching Dub like the rest of us and was sort of like unimpressed by the liquid glass thing. But on Twitter, this guy who works for Apple is an interface designer named Sean Karunamoney, who worked on liquid glass, posted this quick 45-second video of just sort of demonstrating some of the things it can do, which I left in the show notes if you want to watch it yourself. And it actually completely changed how I felt about liquid glass, because I sort of saw it in the same way I saw Windows Aero or Mac or Aqua as this overarching design language. But I think it's actually much more of a lighting engine, because when you look at this sort of, it's all these close-ups of the buttons and stuff. Mm-hmm. And really what it enables you to do in your interfaces is have 3-point lighting, because there's specular highlights on all the, you actually get real rim lighting effects.
Yeah.
And I feel like what this actually brings to the table, I'm not an expert 3D renderer guy. I just sort of fool around with it. But things like rim lighting can be really intensive, compute wise. And so if Apple figured out a way to optimize a lot of these effects, like diffusion, specular highlights, things like that, and then package it in a way that developers can implement it really easily, a la, our Vision Pro episode and talking about all these sort of APIs that they give developers. I don't believe they discussed APIs in the 20-minute liquid glass specific talk. But I would be curious in about 6 to 12 months interviewing a bunch of developers and learning about how hardware intensive these lighting effects are, and then B, how as a developer you're given the support to make your stuff this. I don't know. Watching this 45-second thing really changed my opinion on it, to be actually, these are some potentially really powerful visual effects that might be packaged in a way that enables them to really be everywhere.
RTX on.
No, I agree that the more I've watched from Apple itself, the more impressed I am with how powerful and how intricate a lot of these effects are. Mm-hmm. If you've seen people do the cursor hovering effect, instead of just being a bubble, it has clear shape to the edges of the bubble, so the light sort of refracts differently around the edges versus the center. All these little things.
Or on sliders where the rim, on sliders when the rim lighting changes depending on where you are in the slide.
Which, by the way, for the Mac with the touch bar, they actually updated the touch bar to have
There's still a touch bar?
That's funny.
On the Mac, the one that
the old one,
the old one. They updated the touch bar to be a liquid glass touch bar.
That's so funny.
Interesting.
But I see all of that, and on one hand, I can be both impressed by how intricate and how powerful these effects are in real time, and also think about, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't think about whether or not they should.
Yeah.
Some people are going to make some really sick themes and stuff on there, and with a great wallpaper that all matches, and their home screens are going to look incredible. And then some of our parents are going to turn on the fully transparent one and try and call us to be why can I not read?
The icons are see-through. What the hell is this?
Yeah, it's one of the questions that it's if the average user can't make it look good, is it good design?
Which, if we're judging the average user, the iPhone is the phone to judge the average user on. The most normal people are using it.
But what if I want everything to look like a tennis ball, huh?
Did you call me a normie?
Real quick, did you notice when they introduced liquid glass, they called it an entirely new expressive material? When that happened, Adam was like,
Material 3 expressive, baby.
I thought that was very funny.
Material 3 expressive?
Expressive.
That's funny.
Yeah, so they they drizzled it all across. Is that the right word? Drizzled?
I think they don't
liquid.
Megan Fox just emailed me. Sorry.
Okay, we'll read it for the class.
It's for a beeper party. Anyway,
No.
No. Now we need to know.
You can't just leave
You
that.
need to read that email.
Just park that on the side and move on.
From Megan Fox.
Is it the real Megan
date.
Fox or is it like
Well,
Megan
she
Fox?
is real.
I mean, she
just
knows
don't
you're on this podcast, right? If she's going to email you, she has to know this could be.
We've got big beeper news to share, David.
Ask her what Shia LaBeouf was like on set.
There's a beeper party? Okay, sorry. Okay. They sprinkled liquid glass all over the interface, including the camera app. And there are sort of like all these different ways that they can show liquid glass. They have this developer talk where they basically talk about like where you should use the elements on top of each other and like if you should use it on like a dark background versus a lighter
State
background.
of the platforms, which was like right after, and it was
Platform
very
State of the
interesting.
Union was good. That's not what I'm talking about, though.
What are you talking
they
about?
had a 20-minute just liquid glass deep dive for developers.
Oh, just on liquid glass?
yeah,
Oh, that's
that was
interesting.
quite good. But in the camera app, they've simplified it a lot. So now it only really shows like two buttons at the same time, photo and video near the bottom. But if you swipe around, all of a sudden it expands.
Oh,
So I think last week I mentioned that I anticipated that they were going to be sort of playing off the dynamic island as the way to like expand liquid glass, which is kind of the same idea. It takes like one thing and then it kind of like dynamically expands and contracts out. So you can now just do this. You can swipe around it and it gets bigger and then it'll shrink. And if you want to get into more settings, because everything is hidden now, you just tap on the mode that you're on and it brings up more settings.
Or swipe up.
wait, I have to
swipe
explain this to audio listeners because I feel like it's a little
yeah.
confusing.
Thank you.
There's so on the bottom of the camera app, there's a cutout with two options, photo and video, and one is highlighted. You have to hold down on that to start swiping, and then it expands horizontally, and then all the other modes come up.
Then it shows you cinematic mode, portrait mode, all the other
Yes.
stuff.
Can I see something real quick? I just want to try. So if I just click between these two, okay.
Yeah.
You can click
You can
and it
also
opens up.
You can also just swipe. You can
Yeah.
start by swiping.
So my worry was if you can just click between both of these, so many people are never going to know there's other options, but it does.
yeah.
It previews the extra options a little bit. So
Right,
that
so-
actually is a good.
You tap video once and it sort of expands to show some more
It
options.
shows there's options on both sides.
So I think it's sort of like teaching you that you're able to swipe around.
I do think people are going to have a hard time finding the settings part on clicking the thing that's already selected.
yeah.
But
I'm
they'll
imagining
figure-
that Apple has a bunch of data that just says like 99% of people use photo and video mode only.
I agree. Portrait mode is one that I assume a lot of people
Well,
still use.
Isn't it like automatic portrait mode now or something?
still a
like
You
portrait
that?
can go
automatically-
back afterwards.
Yeah,
and
it
make
automatically, if you take a photo of a subject, which it identifies as a subject, just people or animals, it automatically takes the depth information required to turn it into a portrait later.
Yes.
So
you
might
don't
as well
really
not
need the
even think
portrait
about
mode anymore.
Yeah, don't even worry.
Swiping between options down here and having it like the words kind of like refract on the
Yeah,
sides
it's
is
quite
really
cool.
nice. That's
Yeah.
a good.
I am not a fan of this camera redesign, like at all. It looks beautiful, but it's so not practical. It's like the Sigma camera.
It's not a fan of you
interesting.
either.
Well, okay. Again, there's two types of people
Even though
who
I
use
love the Sigma camera.
who use their camera.
Right and wrong.
Type of person number one, mainly, and I think what you said, David, is true.
Yeah.
With the data, they mainly just open the camera app, take a picture, and leave, or they open the camera app, flip it to a selfie. I took probably 500 selfies this past 2 days, and I observed a lot of camera behavior in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's people just opening the camera, swipe, take a selfie, close it. Like I saw that many times.
Do you remember when we were doing the old blind test? Someone from Google reached out and said that like 80% of people don't even tap the screen to focus. They just take the photo.
They just frame it up, hit the shutter.
It's
Yep.
wild.
And that's it.
Yep.
And so that's one type of person. And I think this camera app is great for that type of person because it simplifies it. It hides the buttons they were going to accidentally press and mess up their settings.
Yeah.
For the other type of person, Adam, you and I want to switch to 60 FPS sometimes or 30, or I want to switch to 4K sometimes.
60?
Yeah, once in a while. I might be doing a slow-mo orbit and I'm going to turn it down to 30 later. Like I have buttons and things that I need to press a little more often, and this hides all that UI. And so it is a little bit less convenient for that second type of person.
I actually talked to Sebastian DeWitt, who makes Halide, And he said he was really happy about the camera update because it makes it even simpler. So Halide looks like even more of a pro app.
I was gonna say Halide is like the perfect interface.
Yeah, because it's, for me, Halide, I like want the buttons everywhere.
That is really funny. Remind me to bring that up later when we talk about Raycast, because I feel the exact same way about that.
But I also think with this camera stuff that there are people that are just regular, open up the camera, take a picture, put it away, that 1 out of every 10 times do want to take like a slow-mo video. Like, oh, the dog is running around the yard. Where is the slow-mo? And then they have to go looking for it.
I
Like,
would
those
argue most
features
of those people
are popular.
don't even know those features.
Yeah, they don't even know.
I disagree.
That's why Google
That's like
Photos
my
does all that stuff
grandma knows
automatically
those
for
features
you.
exist.
My mom does not know those features.
I think like people understand that they can take these photos with their phone, and even if 9 out of 10 times they're not doing that, they know that they have the ability to. And now that ability is hidden.
No.
Won't you be able to ask Siri how to do things inside of your phone?
No.
See, I don't know. I don't feel like my mom and dad know that there are more than the camera and the video.
Well, Adam's
Now
mom
they
and
do
dad
because
features.
it's all over the place. You see it. They don't choose it maybe, but like it's there.
Yeah, it'll just happen, and my dad will complain to me that it did it on its own. Something else. It's true. Something else they added that's just very cool, where that is quite ironic because they had aligned the camera specifically for vision, for the parallax, for Vision Pro. They now have a spatialized button that you can use on any image.
It's kind of incredible.
It's pretty incredible. So I took this photo in San Francisco. Look how instantly it spatializes it.
So for those who aren't, again, watching the video or can't see this, there's a button that you can press to turn any regular photo with a foreground and a background into a like movable, like 3D looking image where it sort of creates parallax with the background and interprets what it thinks is behind things, so you can move around and peek around the image.
It uses generative fill, and it's
really good.
Really good.
David, your phone is cooking right now.
Oh, it's hot as
so
hell.
hot.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's very hot.
I'm definitely going to do a short on this later because it was super impressive, and you could do this in the Vision Pro as well. This is an Apple Intelligence feature, basically.
Look at this one. Look at this.
That's
one.
really good.
Is that not
That's
amazing?
wild.
And I understand that this is kind of gimmicky.
Yeah.
Like, it's just to do for fun, and
But as a lock screen wallpaper,
Yeah,
that's
that's
kinda
what's really cool.
you can use it as a lock screen wallpaper, right?
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We're back to Android 4, baby. I love that. We're bringing back all the crazy, weird, gadgety
Yep.
features that we had in like Android 5.
Let my wallpaper move.
Oh, it's
And
so
in
good.
5 years, we'll be like, oh, that's so
But
dated.
look how the depth is crazy.
Can I ask a question about the camera?
Yeah.
What is the interface for the like camera button? What was that called? Not camera button.
Camera control.
Camera control.
Still works.
Wow.
Does
All
it?
still hidden.
What does it look like when you slide on the side? Oh, the
Exactly.
same.
It's the same as it used to.
It's not liquid glass.
It has diffraction on the bottom and the top.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's a little more glassy.
Yeah, I do hit that accidentally all the
Okay.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two new phone app features.
Right.
Call
Screening.
I mean, I use this
for
on
me.
my Samsung and Pixel
Hold
phones
for
all
me.
the time. And hold for me.
They're not called that.
They're not called that, but they're exactly what they sound like.
Yeah.
It will let you. So, actually, distinction on the Pixel. Every call I get, I can decide to screen it or not.
Right.
So if I'm getting an unknown number, I can screen it. If I'm getting UPS, I can screen it. If I'm getting David, I can be like, yeah, let's screen him too.
Wow.
Or not, if I don't want to.
I have an emergency, Marques.
Yeah. But on the iPhone, it is a setting you can turn on or off where either nothing gets screened or all unknown numbers get screened.
Hell yes.
And so if you turn on all unknown numbers get screened and some random person calls you and you don't know who it is, it won't ring your phone until it picks up.
Yeah.
And it literally like a Siri-like voice goes, hi, I am like here to listen to whatever you have to say and deliver the message to the person, and they might answer. And then they talk and then it gets transcribed and shown on your screen. Then your phone rings.
Yeah.
So you check your phone and it's an unknown number with a message on the screen from what they said to that assistant. And then you can pick up or not.
My dream.
Or deliver a nice little, this person doesn't want to talk to you message, and it will just hang up for you, which is funny. Anyway, I like that this is built in to the
All
phone.
unknown numbers.
Either none or all unknown numbers.
Yeah.
I can't tell if I think that's great or
It's pretty
terrible.
broad.
It's terrible.
I think
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Hey.
Well, it's funny because there's some unknown numbers where I'm waiting for a call, like an insurance adjuster or something like that, and I just need it to pick up. And there are others where it's just a spam call and it's clearly not going to get through, which is great.
99%, yeah.
So
I feel like there's a lot where you're like expecting a call from somebody, but not someone that I've already saved their number into my phone. And like if Lane's daycare, if I just see a call from, I'm not
That should be saved, Andrew.
dox myself, but like, well, no, because the teachers have different phones. They might just be calling from their own phone. So like if I see it from that area, I'm probably going to pick up thinking like, oh, she might be sick.
Yeah, but I get a lot of phone calls from my home area code that are all spam.
That's true, but
Yeah.
I feel like, and the amount of people though, the thing on top of that is the amount of people who then hear the like robot voice are just like, was this the wrong number? It might
Yeah,
hang up before they even know.
yeah,
For sure.
They've
It,
called
it
the wrong
does
person.
instantly
Then
pick
text
up.
me.
So your phone, the phone, when you call it, I got a demo of this. It barely even rings. So you unknown person calls you. As soon as they like connect, it just goes, "Hi, I'm Siri. I'm listening. Like, tell me what you need to know," and then you can say whatever you want, and the person will get a transcript. I think it's great.
Wait, I
me
have an Android question
Mm-hmm.
because now call me Marques Brownlee. I'm using Android and iOS at the same time right now.
Very nice.
But I found that on the Android phone I'm using, if someone calls me from an unknown number and that number is associated with a business in Google Maps, it won't show me the number. It'll just show me the name of the business. Is that
Yeah.
like standard across all?
Most Android phones, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good. It's a
It
good
doesn't always work
good
perfectly
Android
like
thing.
that.
Oh, really? It's worked 100%. Anyway, that's what made me like feel like I didn't need call screening. I feel like I'd rather have that than
It's a good
every
first level.
call.
Yeah.
But even like a random delivery person where it won't show up as UPS, but it's a
wait.
delivery guy needs to like get in touch.
Oh, the
or
poor
something.
DoorDash people have to talk
Yeah.
to Siri every time. They're just like, I'm at your
Uber
door,
drivers,
please.
Uber
That's the
drivers trying to
example.
find you at the
That's the
airport.
example they gave in the keynote. It was, "Hi, this is Greg downstairs with a flower delivery. I'll wait another minute before I have to move on to the next one."
Yeah, but by the time you actually pick up the
Yeah.
minute's over.
Yeah.
Can I just say my favorite subplot of this podcast in the last couple of weeks has been Ellis discovering Android features in real time.
That's what
I love
Dub
this for
Dub
you.
felt like.
Yeah, that's strap in. There's a lot more coming.
Yeah.
There's a lot more coming.
I do also think it's very beautiful that Google literally have had this for so long that people have just solidified the naming schemes that Google have given these features.
Call screening.
So I was in a briefing where they were like talking about all these features, and someone was like, "Can you explain how call screening works?" And they're like, "So it's not called call screening."
It's called this new thing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one is Hold Assist is what they're calling it.
Yeah,
which
they
is
said Hold
literally
for me, too.
Yeah, Hold for me is the Google branded version.
Yeah.
But you're on a call and you go, it's like 20 minutes of hold music. I don't feel like waiting. You just have it hold for you, and as soon as somebody picks up, it will ring you and you can join the call again.
So good.
Thanks for holding for me.
So good.
So those are nice. What else is new to iOS 26?
Well, in the phone app, there's also a new phone app design. So it shows like there's now a contacts cards like favorites list
I
at
like
the top,
that it's all together.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they redesigned it a little bit. It's a lot simpler. There's only like 3 things at the bottom now, and then a little search bar. It has the new liquid glass design. And they also separated calls, missed calls, voicemails, spam into these little submenus. So this is actually a theme throughout quite a bit of the OS where they have created these submenus for things that you probably don't want to deal with. For example, segue into Messages app. In the Messages app, thank you.
Smooth.
Very good. In the Messages app, they've also included this submenu that really is the hamburger menu, but tilted 90 degrees. And when you click it, it also now has a unknown senders folder.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in the Messages app.
For like
The
random
hamburger menu
numbers.
tilted 90 degrees?
Oh wait, no, it's not tilted 90 degrees.
No, it's
just the hamburger menu. But it's not.
It's like,
it's not all even. It's cascading.
yeah.
So it's different.
I was just laughing at like hamburger menu, like cheeseburger, bacon burger, like it just the word
yeah,
menu and
yeah.
like a food item.
Pork burger. But anyway, so yeah, now I think that a big theme of this that is like unspoken is that they're trying to fight like spammers basically. So just like in the phone app, how they had like the unknown senders thing, and they have all those features where unknown senders can't get to you. They now have a like spam and unknown senders folder that are here. They also have a filter for unread, which is very nice. So everything will trickle to the top. And yeah, it's different now. I keep getting tripped up because there's a search button at the bottom now, which you have to click to like be able to find other people, and it used to be at the top. But overall, I really like the messages redesign. Also, if you want to see something really chaotic, they added backgrounds.
Oh
They
god, yeah.
added backgrounds
Inside of an iMessage
So,
thread.
I have this Aurora.
That
on
took
my-
like
on my-
longer to load than I would have liked.
Oh yes, it did, baby.
Maybe a beta thing.
So we have a live Aurora going on here. They have like live. A lot of this really feels like early Android stuff.
Well, this is WhatsApp. Just basically them adding feature like the multiple people in a group chat typing indicators. Just things other group chats have had for a while.
Polls. Yeah,
Backgrounds, polls, all these things that you could do in other chat apps that you can now do in iMessage. chat.
Can't wait to see what Android people get in a group message that gets sent to poll. Actually, can you test it right now?
You wanna test
can
the
you
poll?
send a poll?
yeah.
Yeah. Throw me and Andrew in a group
Yeah.
chat and see what the poll looks like.
It won't show up for Andrew, right?
Well, am I going to get a message that's like, David posted a poll, A, B, C, and all
Reads out
different
everyone's
messages?
votes one by one. That would be horrible.
That would be
actually.
very funny. Okay.
While David sets that up, we have been avoiding the elephant in the room. So I'm glad that we've gotten to this point. Live translation. It's the year of live translation. 2025. We didn't know it was going to happen so fast, but clearly,
One of us did.
yeah, on-device models are proving useful in messages, FaceTime, and phone. In all of the ways you're imagining, you can now have a conversation with someone who speaks a different language. It will understand what you're saying and translate it in your voice, and then understand what the other person's saying and translate it so that you can hear it. Boom. Anyone in the world can talk to anyone in the world through the live translate feature.
Was it anyone in
Welcome.
the world? It's not all.
I just want to say,
It's
I just
only like
languages.
7 languages. to
Actually,
start.
translate.
you know,
Oh.
as the biggest believer and strongest backer of live translation, as someone who's been in the trenches rooting for this hand over fist
Rooting.
for years,
Right.
you're welcome, world.
Yes.
German.
You know, I think because of me bringing this about, all wars will end. We'll achieve world peace at like a record rate. No one will be hungry anymore.
Because of all those translation errors. Yeah.
Because that's where it all went wrong. You know, now we just got to make sure everyone has AirPods and an iPhone and is willing to like read stuff.
Yeah.
Lost me on the last one.
Okay, can one of you text me in German?
I did already.
What did you text?
Well, it's still downloading the
Well,
language.
but
yeah, it is.
look, there's no point in me being defensive here, right? Like I've been kind of getting mopped up in the past few weeks on my live translation take, but I do want to say, you know, it is a little bit like they just kind of did voice to text and then Apple Translate and then are voicing
what do you
that.
think was going to happen?
That's exactly what you're hoping for.
Well, but no. But their demonstration had all this like latent, like it didn't seem fundamentally
no, I
different than
agree.
what David did in the taxi cab. You know what I mean? Like, and I know I'm not trying to move the goalpost.
Text me again.
It's live.
Yeah.
I get it.
The demo on stage it had just enough lag for me to go like, yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah, but we're not quite
wrong.
at like Star Trek. You know,
Yeah.
we're not quite at Skype levels of
It's
live
not live
translation.
dub. Yeah.
I don't remember what I said I would do. I think it had something to do with hot sauce.
Oh, did you make a promise?
I think he said he'd shave his head.
You know, can I talk
I
about
can't
that
do
for a second?
I can't. do that.
Can I talk about this? This is totally off topic, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I remember I made that video about the Robotaxi event, the Tesla Robotaxi
Boy,
event.
do I.
Oh,
I
man,
made
this
a
is where-
promise in that video. I made a promise in that video that was very, very clear. And if you want to even roll the clip, you can play it back. And I said, he gets on stage, he says, we're going to have this vehicle out for $30,000 before 2027. No, they're not. There's just no way that they're actually going to be able to do that. I mean, if they do, let's say they do, I will shave my head on camera. You know, there was a moment on stage where Elon said, yeah, we are going to deliver this robotaxi that's going to drive around and do, you know, robotaxi things, and it's going to be under $30,000 by 2027. And I said, no, you won't. That specific thing, I don't think so. And if you do, I'll shave my head.
If it do.
Now, take that out of context of me going, I don't believe in it. A lot of people have seen like beta tests of like Model Ys as robotaxis in Austin in limited capacity and gone, they did it, Marques, you have to shave your head. No. You don't get to rephrase my original bet. my mentions on Twitter are filled with, and I assume this is just engagement bait, but of many people going, "Hey, Marques, they finally are doing, or they're about to do the thing. Where's the barbershop? Get ready to shave your head," type stuff.
That's not.
No,
that was the nicest
that's
way
not the
possible
bet.
of putting that. That's not what they're saying.
Yeah, the bet was specifically, just as a reminder, $30,000 or less. RoboCab, the taxi thing, the gold thing with 2 doors, blah, 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 all that, delivered to a customer before 2027. So that's the bet. So for those of all who are misquoting me online and trying to sort of change the goalposts on me,
All my haters.
you know, look, it worked. I'm glad you're thinking about me a lot and tagging me every time there's a new announcement. It's great, but yeah, get it straight.
So live
all.
translation.
Yeah.
No, it did do it.
It did do it. So the way this works, they put live translation across the OS, which is quite cool. So they have it in messages. They have it in the phone app now. The way it works in messages is you have to download the language that you are going to be translating. And so when people send text in that message, it shows it in your language, but it shows their language slightly smaller above it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And then in the phone app, the way it works, which is a little bit, I'm not sure this is going to work in practice because it was a little slow. But basically, if you're on the phone with someone speaking another language, you can speak your language, and then a couple seconds goes by, and then a really bad robot voice speaks out in their language, and then they say the thing, and then a couple seconds goes by, and a really bad robot
Like a
voice speaks in
poorly
your
dubbed
language.
movie.
It was pretty bad. I was kind of surprised considering how good these AI voice models have gotten recently. I was pretty surprised at how bad the AI voice was. But that's the live translation.
Yeah.
You do not, in fact, have to stick your waxy AirPod in somebody else's ear.
Yeah,
Huge.
would have been perfect.
So
Huge.
pretty huge if true.
Anything else we want to do in iOS 26 before we take a quick break?
I'm sure there's other stuff. There's the Games app.
There's a new Games app.
There is a games app where you can challenge your friends to a bunch of games, but you still can't
Do group fitness
do
challenges.
group fitness challenges. It was literally called, it said challenges, right?
Cowards.
Yeah.
Adam was like, oh my God, they might add it to, we'll
Yeah.
get to what they actually added later. but
Yeah.
yeah.
So the new Games app is pretty much exactly what we talked about. It just kind of groups all of the games on your iPhone into one place. It also has a little tab for Apple Arcade as a tab where you can play together with other friends, which is kind of nice. Like if you want to, group game, and it just shows your library. So it's not that
It's a bunch
different.
of games in one place.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff in one place. Now they also have a preview app, dedicated preview app. This did not used to exist on the phone or the iPad.
Right.
Now it is on the phone and the iPad.
I'm super excited for that on the iPad.
Yeah, it's really nice on MacBook because you can do like markup and stuff. And you can edit documents,
Same with the iPad.
and same with the iPad.
With
I'm
the
like,
pencil, baby.
I am glad it's on here now though, because like usually when I have to sign NDAs and stuff, it's very frustrating.
Just open the Mac.
I usually just airdrop it to my Mac and then sign it on the Mac and then send the email. So
Yeah.
that is much nicer. What else did they change? I feel like we have other stuff, right?
I mean, since everything is so cohesive between all of them, I'm sure as we talk about other products, we'll probably remember something that happened in iOS. So if we want to trivia and break and talk about that.
Yeah. Besides Apple Wallet.
Which no one cares about, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They added support for new driver's licenses, which nobody is
about
Which
nobody is going to
Did you-
accept.
New Jersey, least compliant real ID state in the country.
Nice. Let's go.
We are number one at something.
Number one.
We are number one. Okay.
Let's do trivia.
Boys,
You
know what time it is. We had an event, which means
Were you paying attention?
that's right. Another instance of were you paying attention. Question number one. Craig Federighi opened up one of his segments. There was a lot of Craig this time.
That's
I think he's
pretty
going to be the
dope,
next
though.
CEO.
Head of software. So.
You really think so?
I think so. He's like their most visual person. Tim Cook was barely in Dub at all.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Well, he
like,
always does the
introed
thing
it.
where
Pretty
he
similar.
bookends things.
Yeah, but he's
He
usually in it a
opens it
little
and
bit
gives
more.
he gives the overarching value, and then he closes it at
But
the end.
he usually has little segments in between where he's like, "We love what you're gonna do with iPadOS. So next, here's Craig."
I feel like
well,
that's more
Craig
of the
is the
iPhone
software guy, and this is Dub.
event. Yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
So it's kind of his.
I still think he's gonna be next CEO.
Anywho,
I think watch the next iPhone event is just Turnus over and over again, or Mac stuff.
I mean, I like Turnus. He's nice, but
Anyway,
No, this is interesting. But during his macOS segment, Craig Federighi made his normal joke. He was like, the Apple crack product marketing team went on some retreat, blah, 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 blah. This year, because it was Tahoe, it was a ski trip. I don't know if you remember that. And to test whether or not you were paying attention, I want to know, what word did Craig use to describe the tracks left in the snow by the product marketing team?
do you have anything easier?
I would just say I was paying attention.
That's like
If you were actually paying attention, this word would have really stuck out, because even he looked uncomfortable saying it, and it is possibly the least Apple word that has ever been used in one of these things.
You know how one time the trivia question was, "What was David's last job?" What about?
Well, I do have a backup that's dumb easy.
You should make it.
Which is what song was playing during the F1 trailer. But no one wants to do that.
No. You should have. Yeah, you should have done.
Yeah, we all know that one.
What was David's hometown?
Yeah, that would be good.
Tahoe.
No. We're going to break. Think about this. It's in your brain, you guys. If you guys were truly,
I was paying attention, but I was also doing that thing where I was live tweeting the event and also taking notes for a video that I was going to make all at the same time.
Sounds like a skill issue.
So this one might have just hit it might have gone out the other ear, and
what you should have done is
Memorize the script.
Open up your MacBook, start a Google Meet with yourself. Okay. Get Gemini to record and make a transcript of it as if. Anyway, let's go to break. We'll see you guys in a sec.
Support for the show today comes from Notion. Organization is one of the first steps to creating quality work, and there is no shortage of helpful AI tools to help you streamline your workflow. But using them might mean switching back and forth between other digital tools, so instead of simplifying your workflow, it ends up becoming more complicated. Unless, of course, you're in Notion. Notion combines your notes, docs, and projects into one space that's simple and beautifully designed, and you can do it all while taking advantage of their in-house AI-powered tool, Notion AI. Notion AI is fully integrated and helps you work faster, write better, think bigger, and doing tasks that normally take you hours in just seconds. On Waveform, we actually use Notion for basically everything. Like, Adam, what do you think would happen if we didn't use Notion here?
The episode you're listening to right now probably wouldn't be out.
Yeah, without Adam assigning us everything in Notion, keeping it all organized there, these episodes would actually be late every week. So you can save time and write faster by letting Notion AI handle the first draft, jumpstart a brainstorming session, or turn your messy notes into something more polished. Plus, you can even automate tedious tasks like summarize meeting notes or finding next steps. Try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/wave. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/wave to try the powerful, easy to use Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show. Notion.com/wave. All right, welcome back. We've got way more dub to talk about. All of the 26s, all the software stuff. David, you had one more thing about the iPhone?
One more thing about the iPhone. So I didn't know where to sleep at dub, so I called up Christian Selig and the ex-developer of Apollo, and I crashed his Airbnb with a bunch of other developers, and it was fun. And one of those developers told me that they actually introduced an alarm kit API.
This is so far the most David string of sentences I've ever heard. Keep going.
That's federated. I'm kidding. But previously, the only alarm you could use on your iPhone was the freaking clock app.
Right.
I didn't even know that.
So now any app can set an alarm.
Yeah.
I saw developers making jokes about this, like, will they now let me put an alarm in my notes app? Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, that's dope. Yeah. Is that not dope?
No, I agree. It's sick. I can't wait to see all the cool alarms. Like, do you remember the rock alarm from back in the day?
The rock alarm?
Oh, didn't it just woke you up whenever the
rock woke up
at like 4 a.m? I
want that back. That's what I want.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
It's time to bring that app back.
So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty neat. And then
Sick.
also they added the Apple Intelligence app actions API thing. So now you can use app intents. You can now use a lot of Apple Intelligence features within your app as you're developing it, and it all happens on the iPhone, which is also very cool.
But
So
Apple Intelligence isn't good yet.
I know. But
Okay.
you can do visual intelligence and stuff within your app now.
Yeah.
So I think
Or
that's
summaries
also
or
useful.
whatever.
Yeah, summaries. You can do all that stuff in your app, and it's not just in Apple's apps. So that's very good, and I am excited to see what that does. So now we're
Sick.
done,
All right.
and it's federated.
We have a bunch of other OSs we could talk about. We could talk about macOS. We could talk about iPadOS.
What's the difference?
Ayo, got
Not wrong. Or watchOS or tvOS or visionOS.
Can I make a suggestion?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we do a rapid fire watchOS, tvOS, something
Good call.
to get them out the way because
Yeah, because we're going to forget at the end.
we're gonna forget. No one cares.
All right,
Let's
let
just
me
do it
blast.
now.
Let me blast through the small ones. Okay, tvOS got a slight new visual, like Coda Paint, right?
Barely.
New, glassy, etc. That's kind of all that it did, and there's
kinda
also some new
already
content.
glassy.
Yeah, it stripped the paint.
It was already very glossy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. watchOS also new, glassier touch points. There's also new Smart Siri. What is it called? Shortcut Smart Siri widgets. What are they?
Smart Stacks?
Smart Stacks.
Smart stacks,
Yeah.
better smart stacks.
Better smart stacks that are more live. Great. You can also, I really like the swipe to dismiss, that little wrist swipe to dismiss.
Ice
action.
flick thing.
By the way,
Yeah.
I don't like that because this morning I got an email.
Oh, you're running the beta.
Yeah, I'm running the beta. I got an email, and the email popped up here, and I was like, oh, and I went like this, and because I flicked too fast, it dismissed it.
Oh, it should definitely only be away from you.
did
that
it
does it.
when I did
thought it would be
towards
like
me.
Quick away back is like the dismiss.
Oh, I just
like
got an email.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh.
Yeah,
works.
so it's like you're flipping it off your watch. It's literally supposed to, I think, feel like you're just like
Yeah.
throwing it off your watch.
Maybe it just messed up, or maybe it's just a beta.
I thought it was cool. The beta hopefully gets less buggy. And then also this Workout Buddy, which is like a Spotify DJ for workouts. It's almost exactly what you're thinking. It's just a new voice that looks at your workout data and every once in a while goes, "Great work. You're a mile in. Your heart rate is 162."
It's way too happy. It's
Yeah,
like,
should be
wow,
toxic.
you're such a killer runner. You ran 12.4 miles last week. Way to go. I wanted to be like, you're such a piece of garbage. You haven't ran in 3 weeks. What the heck are you doing with
On
your
your couch again?
They were pumped about that. It was trained on the voices of Apple fitness trainers. So
Yeah.
it's like literally you have your own trainer with you in your ear, on your run with you. Cool. Great.
It'd be great if it's like, hey, dumbass, you forgot to stop this workout. I know you're sitting on the couch right now.
Yeah. And then visionOS got one really cool thing that I don't think is that useful, but it's still pretty cool. Widgets.
Okay.
Pin them anywhere. They have a depth effect.
Yeah,
You can
the depth
pin.
was cool.
Have you tried visionOS 26?
I have not tried it yet.
If you pin a panorama photo to a wall
That's right,
in a
baby.
frame,
Just for me.
you walk past that thing and it looks like a window. I promise you walk past it and you can look around the panorama through the window, which isn't that revolutionary. You could already look around a panorama, but just the depth effect and being pinned to the wall, it was something sick.
By
You
the
can
way,
also do clocks and stuff.
I do sell panoramic wallpaper packs on my website, davidmel.com, if you want to go put it on your Vision Pro,
just saying.
which nobody's going to do.
The widget's
then-
also the
Yeah.
depth wasn't just out. It was
It's, in.
protruding
That's
in,
what
which
made it.
looked really, really good.
did. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's persistent app pinning now.
Thank God.
So now, oh my goodness, this is what everyone's been asking for. Now you can just put on the headset and all of your stuff is pinned where it's supposed to be instead of having to reset it up every single time.
Yeah.
And that's a huge update.
There was something that I caught reading about this that I didn't hear there, and I'm wondering if either of you heard about in the briefings. But there's now Premiere Pro support in Vision Pro,
There,
There's going to be a Premiere Flash, a small
like an app
Premiere
inside of it. It said mostly for 360 video and stuff. That's what I read, but there's no Final Cut in it, right?
You know what I want? You know what I
Not
want?
built in.
In this print, I want to be able to pick a clip up out of the timeline, and I want to snap it in half like a Toblerone. I want to. There's a current that I want to go. Just like you know what I mean?
That
Like a
would be fire.
Toblerone.
I would edit like that.
Yeah. Do it. And then you put it right back.
I
in
would
there.
multicam with that. I would be doing my J cuts. I'd grab 3 clips and shove them under 3 other clips. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
do that.
they also
PlayStation
added
controllers.
they added more dystopian features, which technically we wanted. where now if you're sitting on a couch with your significant other, you can both watch the same movie in your individual Vision Pros, and then when you lean over to give each other a little kiss, you're both wearing Vision Pros.
Can you do
glass
that?
Yeah.
I don't think you could kiss. I think if two people are wearing Vision
If you
Pros,
did it
they
sideways,
cannot. I don't think so.
It would just be
You wanna
glass
try?
to
We can
glass.
try.
We
You
Show notes.
members only content.
I'm not beating the allegations.
shared content's important though on Vision
Yeah.
Pro. This is what I talked about when it first came out. Like
Yeah.
top 5 things missing from Vision Pro. My number 1 is shared experiences.
Yeah.
2 different people looking at the same 3D object, manipulating it, showing each other, scaling,
same
rotating in the same room at the same time. That is now going to be supported, which is great.
Yeah.
I also think that it's hilarious that there's a world where 2 people are wearing $3,500 headsets and they don't have a TV that they can share.
I know.
Like that's a weird room. I don't know what that room is. But okay,
prefer.
there's a couch and a blank wall and that's your room.
It's
great.
specifically for like when you move into a new apartment, but you haven't bought anything yet.
But you got your headset, so you're ready
You're
to go.
sitting in this empty white
Movie
room
night?
on the carpet.
What do you mean movie night? I got the headsets. All right.
One thing about tvOS that we didn't mention is that you can now do karaoke on tvOS, and you can use your iPhone as a microphone for the karaoke.
Finally,
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's all. That's
Okay.
all coming, and I think now we get to the 2 big ones, which is macOS and iPadOS. And to Andrew's point, less of a difference than ever before.
In macOS.
Probably. Well,
What's a
between the 2.
computer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what is a computer? Okay, let's start with
Everything's
macOS
computer.
because I think we can also kind of drill through that one a little quickly.
Yeah.
Liquid glass everywhere, clear dock, clear widgets. You can do clear all the things. I don't love the look on the Mac. I gotta be honest. I've seen it now. The control center. Are you running that too?
Oh, I'm running everything.
Yo, hit the control center right now.
I know,
Tell me
I'm
that
on
doesn't
it
look
right
like
now.
Bubble Boy from SpongeBob.
Oh, it is Bubble Boy.
That looks
That's
so
really hard
bad,
to read.
dude. That looks horrible.
It's opinionated.
It looks horrible.
Rain meter is back.
I need a background so I can read things.
That's pretty rough.
Give me
It's
everything.
bad.
It's also funny because
I love it.
like my menu bar up top is more transparent than your menu bar.
Yeah, so the menu bar is
yeah.
supposed to be transparent
Oh, yeah.
when you have no apps open.
than your menu
Well,
When you have no
his is
apps
liquid
open. When you
ass.
have
So
When you're just like showing your home screen. So if
When
you
you
just
have-
like expose the home screen, just like click the bottom left corner to like show your hide all windows. It should be clear, right?
It's not.
It's not?
It
Okay.
is supposed to be.
That's a beta.
It's a beta. It's a
Yeah.
beta. You're like me.
What else is in macOS? I mean, some other slight improvements. Spotlight is
Dude,
kind of the big thing for
Spotlight.
me.
Spotlight.
So, all right.
Okay.
Let's
I'm
talk
gonna
about
sit this
Spotlight
one
first.
out. Let Adam come in. This is all
Yeah, Adam, tap in. Okay. So Spotlight.
I'm ready, baby.
You're a fellow Raycast user, right?
Tap me in.
So, I mentioned this in the impressions video. My like number 1 productivity app I install fresh on every new Mac is called Raycast, and it literally replaces the command space keyboard shortcut for Spotlight, and is a like Spotlight on steroids. I can open apps obviously, or I can give it commands. I can also tab over and find files. I can talk with AI, literally like dozens of different AI models. I can select on the fly which one I want to talk to. I can also do, I think my favorite part is actually just the clipboard history. I just type in clipboard and I see my entire clipboard history of all the things I've copied and want to paste again. So it is incredibly, incredibly useful. It syncs across devices. I don't really go anywhere without it, obviously. It's very useful. So Apple gets on stage and they start showing this new Spotlight for Mac, which actually when you hover over it has this nifty little animation that's starts to break apart like, okay, you can still search for apps, but you can also now do commands, keyboard shortcuts, view your clipboard history, all these new things that you couldn't do in Spotlight before.
Yeah.
And the first obvious thought that I had was, oh, this is what it looks like when an app gets Sherlocked. Like this is the obvious, if I'm a developer at Raycast, I'm over here thinking like, that's tough. They just took a bunch of our users / features. And that's actually kind of what I said in the video. But the more I've thought about it, and I read the statement from, I think it was a founder, a CEO. The more I thought about it, the more I think it actually is promising that Raycast will continue to exist and may even benefit from this.
Oh, let's hear it.
Because the angle is people weren't thinking about like Spotlight being a power user type thing or doing shortcuts in that way yet. And so it was only really us nerds, power users, productivity people who are doing that. Now that this is built in and people might start to mess with this a little bit, they will quickly run up against Apple's limits of customization, and then we'll find Raycast, because Raycast will continue to do more than Spotlight will. Like when I want to open Command Space and tab, and I'm talking to Gemini now in 2 clicks, I don't have to touch my trackpad.
There's Gemini on the computer?
Yeah, well, in Raycast. Like I don't even have to leave, go to a browser. I can just chat with Gemini.
No.
And so that type of thing is always going to be the next level above what, like Apple's never going to let me do that in Spotlight. But when you open the funnel a little bit and you get regular users thinking a little bit more about like, oh, I'll use Spotlight a little more, I'll start to like use it to find files, or that's the type of thing that shows people that Raycast exists faster.
And Raycast can let you do things with third-party apps, right?
Right. There's plugins.
Yeah.
Lots of plugins. Google Translate plugin is very useful. I'm sure there will be a Translate Siri shortcut plugin or something that does a similar thing. The thing that was really useful for Apple's version is the app intents again. You can like jump in and send a message to a recipient, and you type it all out and hit enter, and it sends a message without ever opening the Messages
You can also
app.
email files straight from the clipboard.
Pretty intense.
From the
straight from Spotlight. So
Yeah.
that's like, that is like power user. Like there's an entire YouTube genre of how to maximize Raycast and do these types of things.
Right.
And this is stepping right into that territory. And if this was like a third-party app, you would immediately be like, oh, this is pretty clever, nice UI, but obviously very limited.
Yeah.
And I think this is...
So are
highlights it.
developers not going to be able to tap into the Spotlight thing? You can only use it with Apple apps?
I have a feeling that this will be much more restricted, and there won't be third-party plugins like Google Translate or Gemini Chat or Spotify Play Pause type stuff.
Oh, man. That'd be amazing if you could just be like, play on Spotify this song.
That exact thought you're having is what's going to drive people to Raycast. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think the Spotlight limitations are going to be that you have to use shortcuts for things like that. Like if I want to do anything like that, like go and open Spotify and then play this song, you can probably hack your way around that with like
Siri shortcuts.
Siri shortcuts.
Yeah.
But something like Raycast will just do it because it already has it built in. And then you can also just like create your own extensions on Raycast if you want. Like I spent this whole weekend, which is hilarious because I like I posted like Saturday or something like, okay, I've been using Raycast now like a normie for the last like 3 or 4 weeks, like just basically as a basic search bar for like a Spotlight replacement.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, send me your like tips and tricks for Raycast. And I dove deep down that rabbit hole this weekend. I set it up all perfectly, and then Monday happened.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And on stage, they're like, oh, we just updated Spotlight. And I was like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, like, wait, I've seen this before. But the thing that makes Raycast way more powerful, which is like, to Marquez's point, the people that care are going to just always have to go to Raycast because you can just use regular code to build your own thing if you want.
Right.
Like if you're trying to build your own extension in Raycast, I'm pretty sure it's just like React and like that's it, which a lot of developers know. So like, yeah, you can like try to figure it out with shortcuts if you're a developer and you want to do that. Regular people just ignore shortcuts altogether, so they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But the people that care about this stuff kind of tend to have these skills anyway.
Yeah.
So then they'll be like leaning towards Raycast.
Speaking of shortcuts too, they added a bunch of like Apple Intelligence features to shortcuts now. They showed me a demo where you get a bunch of photos that you have in a folder, and you're like, oh, I need to organize these.
Yeah.
So they had created a shortcut that like organizes the photos based on what's in them.
This one seemed insane to me.
Yeah. So they like,
But it did what it's supposed to.
Well, they were saying that this would be like perfect for video editors because you could automatically index things. Yeah. But, you know, it has to work.
You should make a shortcut so every time Final Cut crashes, it reopens it up again and gets to the spot you're at.
That's actually...
Final Cut's always open.
Yeah.
And the shortcut is just you slamming your keyboard with your fist.
And just go...
Yeah.
Oh, I just almost sent an email. See?
SM.
I'd say
Too good.
David has the new Spotlight open.
I do.
It looks way nicer.
It does.
It looks really good. The
clean.
like
The animation is cool.
there's an animation between the App Store files. What's the other?
It's it's not the App Store, it's apps. Apps, files, actions, and clipboard manager.
And it has a very easy like command 1 2 3 4 to select any of
Yeah.
those. That looks really nice. I think that
Yeah.
new Spotlight looks good.
Animation's nice. It's glassy, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's glassy.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on this Spotlight situation. I think it's a cool feature, and it will hopefully get a lot of people thinking about how to use it better.
Yeah.
But then
clipboard history.
Are we just all going back to
Clipboard
writing
history.
in a terminal? I feel like
That's
this
the-
is just teaching us
Vim
all to,
users
type
out
again.
here,
the cool kids way.
Yeah.
getting all excited.
Yeah. That moment where it was Craig or whoever was giving a demo, like talked about you can do all of this and like send this message and hit enter without ever touching the trackpad. I was like, that's the exact pitch of so many apps of like my email app is you can do all this and never touch your keyboard or never touch your trackpad or your mouse.
Yeah.
That is straight from that world.
Yeah.
Turns out keyboard shortcuts were the solution all along.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, there are now live activities on the Mac.
True.
And it has continuity. So if you have you can basically have it where you can like open a virtual version of your phone and then have your phone on there. And so now, like, there will be live activities on your iPhone, say when your Uber Eats delivery is coming or whatever, it'll show up on your Mac. And then when you click it, it opens a virtual session of your iPhone and you can manipulate the app on your iPhone from your computer.
It's useful.
So that is pretty cool.
You also get the live activities in your top menu bar, right?
Menu bar.
So do you think Domino's Pizza Tracker can be on my menu bar now?
If it's a live activity, absolutely.
Domino's
Actually,
is
living in
always
Asian
at the
wonders.
forefront of every
Oh.
new technology, so I
Oh, really?
guarantee they'll be there.
Yeah.
We also did not talk about the most important change, colored folders.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Also,
And you can put emojis on the folders as well. Colored emoji folders.
real organization chops here.
It'll match perfectly with liquid glass.
Yeah. Yes.
Just
Hello.
cartoon-
Everything else, no color.
red folder with green emoji with liquid glass background. It's just diabolical.
This is chaos.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
laugh. I cannot wait for this.
Johnny Ive leaves and everything falls apart.
All right, so that's basically all of it for the rapid fire. I think the last one we're going to do is the big one, iPadOS 26. But before we get to that, let's take one more quick break, which means it's time for one more trivia question.
I jumped the gun. I'm sorry.
No, it felt smooth. It felt like that was
Sorry.
Kind of like
preemptive.
integrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what else
like
was preemptive?
Were you paying
I know.
attention?
I was, I
Is
swear.
that the definition?
Were
of
you?
preemptive?
I was.
Then on the very first frame of WWDC, it's a close-up of Craig in an F1 car.
Sure is.
Can you name me one of the sponsors that were on his helmet?
There's sponsors.
Oh, the helmet
The helmet.
specifically?
Any of them. Anything
Apple
on
had
that frame, I'll
sponsors?
take it.
In that
not
frame?
the car that he was driving, because that's a very obvious brand.
Oh, boy.
Why does
the
Apple need
helmet.
more money?
Well, no,
Well-
it was for the F1 movie. So, like, F1 racers are typically sponsored by a bunch of brands.
I have a
in
lot of
Seattle.
questions about the
Crazy that he would
logistics
have
of
any
that.
sponsors on there.
Well, no, but he was wearing the thing from the movie that
Yeah.
Apple made.
Yeah.
That's still surprising. to
But
me.
wait, think of this logistically. Apple
sponsors?
made a movie about Formula One, right?
Yeah.
Formula One, just like NASCAR, notorious for having lots of sponsors on jerseys, helmets, and cars.
Yeah.
So if you're going to make a movie that's ultra realistic about Formula One, you must also therefore have lots of sponsor logos. They used all of the exact real company logos and all of the sponsor names. How does that work? Did they have to pay for
that's what
that?
I
No,
was-
it,
Did
Mark,
they-
don't, Mark, it doesn't matter. It's a movie. You know, it doesn't matter. What does matter
does
is,
matter in
is
the
if you're a
movie.
YouTuber and you got flown out to a race specifically to shoot a video, and then they tell you once you're there, hey, you're not allowed to shoot anything because there's lots of other brands in it.
Yeah. I'm just
I'm not
wonder,
salty.
like Apple, whenever they have iPhones that appear in movies, they just go, it's fine. You can use it as long as the iPhone isn't the bad guy's phone. So they understand that there's just going to be Apple logos that show up sometimes. But if you're
Who pays who? for
just,
the
you know,
movies?
random company here, Coca-Cola, and there's a movie about an F1 driver who crashes the car, like, are you mad? Do you not want the logo in there? Are you cool with that? I don't.
Question.
Is making an F1 movie the infinite money glitch, where you just get 1 million free sponsors inside of it and get paid for all of those plus
Maybe?
the money you make on it?
I feel like you might have to be
Well, you
doing
have
the
to-
paying.
Yeah,
There's no way
You
that
think
they
so?
were using these brand names without contacting these brands, because one of them
So
in
many
particular
brands.
is like a very big brand in a
Google.
particular field that I'm not going to name because it might give you a hint.
I'm gonna write it down
So-
because I think I remember.
I don't know. I don't remember a single brand on this.
What if I write down like 4 different brands?
It's a watch company, and I guaranteed none of you guys have heard of it.
Seiko. Okay.
You can write
Casio.
down as
Apple.
many as you want.
Apple.
If you give me one of them,
Okay.
Yeah, why didn't they just have Apple ads all over it? It's kind of weird for them to use real
Because that would be
sponsors.
It would be
You know,
weird if the
F1.
Apple created shows all their sponsors on the car was Apple.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It would feel weird.
Like the
be like
Ferrari,
Safari
when I see the
logo.
Ferrari F1 car, I expect the Bit Defender logo on the helmet every single
you
time.
expect the big blue HP.
I also expect it to be behind McLaren.
Yeah. And it's usually right behind him.
Verstappen, am I right?
And like there's the Red Bull team, the McLaren team. Like these are all brand names. Anyway,
is Verstappen a real one?
Verstappen, yeah.
Is that a guy?
That's a last name.
driver, nice.
As a
Good
driver.
job.
Is he an F1 driver?
Yeah.
He is.
I'm so good at
Killing
just
it, baby.
casually injecting information in my brain.
Keep thinking about F1. We will have the answers at the end like usual. We'll be right back. Support for Waveform comes from Coda. We all love it when a plan comes together, but trying to keep track of all the information, data, and projects we're working on across dozens of platforms is just not the vibe for this summer. Coda is, maybe not a vibe per se, but their all-in-one collaborative workspace can help you and your team get your projects done. Coda offers the flexibility of docs with the structure of spreadsheets to facilitate deeper teamwork and quicker creativity. Their new turnkey AI solution, Coda Brain, is a game changer. Powered by Grammarly, Coda is entering a new phase of innovation and expansion, aiming to redefine productivity for the AI era. So whether you're a startup looking to organize the chaos while staying nimble, or an enterprise looking for a better alignment, Coda matches your working style. Its seamless workspace connects to hundreds of your favorite tools, including Salesforce, Jira, Asana, and Figma, helping your teams transform their rituals to do more faster. So you can head over to coda.io/wave right now and get 6 months of the team plan for startups for free. So that's coda.io/wave and get 6 months of the team plan for free. coda.io/wave. All right, welcome back. We've got one more big OS update to talk about from Apple this week, and that is the iPad. Now, the history of iPad updates has been very consistent. We've got maybe 5 or 6 years of iPads under our belt where I review the iPad and I say the same thing that I said the last year when I reviewed the iPad, which is, man, this hardware is so good, so impressive, so thin, so fast, beautiful screen. But it's still an iPad. I always say that line, but it's still an iPad. And that's because it's still the same iOS on steroids kind of software, where if you were hoping to make it your computer, it is clearly not up to that. It's not designed for that. And heck, it's Apple. Why would we expect them to do that? They make computers. If they wanted to sell you a computer, it's over there. It's called the Mac. So they're always so separate for so long. And I've watched so many YouTube videos over the years of YouTubers going, can I make it my main computer? And I've made 1 or 2 of these videos too with the iPad Pro. You know, there's a little bit better file management. I could upload a YouTube video from the tablet, and also it had a desktop agent, so I could even like mess around in the Dropbox app. Like there was hacks that I could kind of get working, but it was never
Stage
quite
Manager.
comfortable. Stage Manager came along. It was okay.
Blech.
This year, iPadOS 26 genuinely feels like they just decided to make it more of a Mac. They
This
just
time
did
will
it.
be different.
They just did the thing. It was kind of shocking. It was
Marques just
it was
teared up a
kind of
little bit.
crazy. Like they did
Getting
all.
choked up.
They added full freeform windows. Like you can just drag from the corner and make a bunch of windows as whatever size you want. Multiple overlapping windows, on screen, off screen, full screen. They also added a menu bar at the top.
And window controls on those windows.
And we had the stoplight menu for like closing or minimizing or change the size of windows. There's a new redesigned Files app. There is a new audio input selector, which I also confirmed will work with Bluetooth microphones.
Ooh.
I've been paying for apps to do this for like years. Every time I test Bluetooth headphones, I'm like, how do I do this test? This is going to be the worst part.
Yeah.
There are so many things in iPadOS.
Preview app.
The new preview app, you can export to different file sizes and types, like all of this stuff. The new Files app can let you sort by or organize by showing different types of attributes for your files. The liquid glass is still there, obviously, but I am just way more confident that I can use the iPad like a computer. Have you seen the plugging it in with a trackpad?
Yeah, there's
It's
a real
just a
pointer
mouse.
now.
It's just
There's
a real mouse now.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of like that blob that was like snapping. You called it aim assist. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah.
It's just a mouse now.
Finally, this is what I wanted.
This is right up your alley.
How'd
You don't
they
even
pull it
need
off?
DeX. You literally just plug it into a monitor and maybe throw on like the keyboard attachment with the trackpad. It's a computer.
Oh, I plan to try.
Yeah.
My summer will be dedicated between this and the Android 16 developer beta that just came out. I'm going to be trying to replace this laptop with one of these.
Yeah, man.
I like desktops so much.
I think you can really do it. I think so. There's obviously, if you have certain apps that you need, you have got to make sure those apps work. Like the Final Cut on the iPad is going to be different from Final Cut on the Mac. So you have to be okay with like the lack of plugins. There's certain things that work differently, but there are background apps or background actions now. So if I hit export and then I leave Final Cut and head to the web browser and open up Frame.io to get ready to upload or whatever, it will continue to export in the background.
I cannot believe that wasn't a thing before.
I know.
I cannot believe that wasn't a thing before. That's
all of these
insane.
things all in one update just feels like if they did one of these things, it'd be like, oh, it's a little closer, but they did all of these things.
So now, would you rather buy a MacBook Air or an iPad?
Okay, so what user am I? Am I me?
Yeah.
Or am I regular? Am I my sister? Am I am I a recent college grad? Am I what? Which type of person are we talking about?
Do you want to do? Well,
I think if it was me,
be me.
yeah. Okay, I use Final Cut Pro for Mac heavily.
You do.
So I'm a big video guy. I don't know if you know. What? So
Okay.
I cannot main this as my main like editing computer.
Right.
For everything else, yes, I can. So I'm the person that's going to have to keep a Mac around, and I think a lot of power users who have specific apps that they use on the Mac are going to have to keep a Mac around. But as far as like taking it everywhere with me, I don't have to do that anymore. I can take the iPad everywhere with me, and if I need the Mac, I'll go to where the Mac is.
Right.
That's the difference.
And the thing that they did with the iPad Final Cut app was that they were trying to make it so that you could just do a base like cut edit so that you could then throw it to your Mac anyway.
Yeah, I will say a lot of the demos that Apple does and that any of these companies do with video editing is, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just hilarious to me because it's so contrived. They'll be like, and now I want to add a background song. So I'll just drag this here and boop, looks good. All done. I'm like, wait, what? That's it?
That's how easy it is.
That's how they edit. They just go drag something in and it's perfect because they had it staged for that. But I think it's for simple edits.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I will say DaVinci Resolve has a full iPad app that
Who
is.
was sitting next to me and said that?
I did. And
That was you.
And I was
okay.
sitting next to you.
Yes. That's what I'm remembering. Thank you.
Wow.
Hey, I remembered. I was paying attention.
Were you paying attention to me sitting next to you for 2 hours?
Well, because I was also in a briefing with Tyra Stallman and we talked about something else and there was some other photo stuff. But yes, that.
Okay.
So the full-on iPad app, that is an option.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to relearn.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But for people that are already on Resolve, that's pretty amazing. Like you can pretty much just use the full iPad.
I'm not on Resolve, and I spent yesterday like at least 2 hours just watching a bunch of iPad Resolve tutorials, and I want to try it.
Yeah.
It looks doable.
Yeah.
Vin raves about the color controls in Resolve.
It's way better. Yeah. It used to just be a coloring app.
Right.
And then they built out editing
Also-
abilities.
It doesn't crash all the time.
Is that right?
Allegedly.
That's actually a huge upside.
Allegedly.
If that's true. Okay.
Huge if true.
Does it support Red Raw?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it also has it had AI cutout features before Final Cut did.
Oh yeah, because the magnetic mask is kind of fire in Final Cut.
It's pretty good on Resolve.
I've seen people use it who I know are not the best editors in the world, and it looks pretty good.
Hey, I'm right here.
And
You're still learning.
it looks a lot like Final Cut.
Okay, so maybe not the biggest learning curve.
No, there's a learning curve.
There's
to
definitely a
Resolve,
learning
or
curve,
Resolve.
but it doesn't look that different than Final Cut.
Okay, because it's got the nodes and you have to sort of learn the
Nodes.
process of editing in it. All right.
Nodes.
I may give this a spin. I got a 7-hour flight
Whoa.
coming up, so
Okay.
7.
we'll see.
Did you see
Damn,
there?
where are you going? Narnia?
Yeah.
Wait,
That's a
actually,
door
that
closet.
that would be a pretty quick flight.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
6.
The other thing we didn't mention, the local capture was pretty cool. Riverside.
Yeah.
But it says it can do it with any video conferencing app.
Yes. So this is going to be built into the OS.
Yeah.
Where if you are, and it's interesting, I don't know if the Mac is going to do this too, but basically, if you are on a video conferencing app, let's say you're going to do a podcast with someone over Zoom, it will be able to record your camera and microphone feed locally. The other person does that at the same time, and then you put all the files together, and you can then edit those files together, which is similar to what Riverside does.
It's the killer feature of Riverside, actually.
It really is. And then this plus now the microphone input change.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty solid.
really
that's
good.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
As someone that has to like talk to people through this setup process in Riverside, I am not going to trust this with.
I'm
people.
curious. I think it
it's
might be
awesome. I think
exactly
it's-
what we need.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I just don't think that people will understand how it works, where to find it in files, how to send it to me after. There's like so many things that Riverside takes care of
That's
automatically that I'm just going to keep trusting Riverside for now.
Is this even going to work on the Mac? Or is
we
this
don't
only
know.
iPad?
That's the biggest
This
thing.
is definitely an iPadOS feature. This is where I saw it demoed, and this is the part in the keynote that they showed it. So I assume it's iPad only.
Interesting.
But yeah, this struck me as like on a super, super, super simple podcast setup, this would work. The more variables you have, the more you might probably want to use Riverside. But
I think if it's great for like you're starting out. You're like, oh, me and my friend want to start a podcast. We have iPads. Perfect. That is like the ideal situation. For like us in a professional setting, I personally would not rely 100% on it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
If they can just bring Dota 2 to iPadOS, then I don't need my laptop anymore.
Is that your killer Mac app that you're stuck to Mac with?
Yeah.
So mine's Final Cut Pro. Yours is Dota
Well, I
2.
also need a video editor. And I use Lightroom Classic instead of Lightroom Mobile.
Oh. But, you got Pixelmator.
You could, I mean, there's also Lightroom Mobile. You could just
Yeah.
use that. But yeah.
I'm excited. I expect that video again, is what I'll say. Expect can the iPad be my computer video, but this time in a much more like optimistic tune. 'Cause
everything's computer.
Seems like it's possible.
Yeah.
We had that what is a computer moment. It was literally as they went down the list of things, we started when the first feature of like moving windows around happened. We were like, what is a computer? And they showed the toolbar and we are like, what is a computer?
Yeah.
And then they started going through like file management and like
The mouse.
all of the mouse stuff. And we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, Windows.
This is serious.
Different windows.
Yeah.
Snapping.
They went down the whole list. So
Yeah. You can flick the windows around now and it'll like automatically snap to the sides.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
What an age.
We truly live in an age of wonders.
I think Craig had a moment in the end of the keynote where he was like, wow, how about that?
Yeah, he
Like-
did. Yeah, he said something quite funny that was kind of referencing that
Like, we've been asking for this.
that they're intentionally like keeping the iPad from being a computer, and they were like, yeah, a little bit more now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I didn't want to say this in Slack yesterday during the event because I thought everyone would laugh at me. But now that we're with the people that I'm,
Let's
like,
record the
Safe
laughter.
space.
I was gonna say now that I'm with the people, you're right. Now everyone on Twitter can laugh at me too. There was one feature they mentioned super briefly in iPadOS that people were joking about in the Slack, but it's serious, guys. It's really serious because I bought my Apple Pencil specifically
oh yeah,
at the Apple event. Like we were in Cupertino, we were shooting whatever, and it was the Apple event where they announced the Journal app. And
Yeah.
as soon as they announced that, I went and I bought an Apple Pencil online. That moment, I was like, yes.
oh
And then I bought it before they finished introducing the Journal app. And then at the end, they were like, iPhone only. And I was like, are you kidding me?
yeah.
Are you kidding
use
me?
that? Does anyone use the Journal app?
But now it's on.
Yeah,
iPad.
what kind of idiot uses the? That'd be crazy to use the Journal app. And so now the fact that my dreams of using the Apple Pencil to write my journal in bed like a little kid with on my stomach with my shins up in the air, boy, everyone is like, oh, Apple Pencil for journal app. I was like, this is all I've ever wanted.
They know that.
Thanks, Craig.
Target demographic was impressed.
yeah.
Yeah. By the way, all these window management features all come to the iPad Mini. I need to see 5 windows open on the iPad.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
It does
Adam
not
has
look
it.
nice.
Do you have it already?
I have it on the iPad Mini.
Oh,
and
I need
it's-
that
That's the
screenshot.
first thing I did too, and it's a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, Notes did add Markdown as we predicted last time. And the calculator, the math notes in the math notes calculator added 3D graphing capabilities, which we should try because
Can I
math
just
notes
say-
is cool last year.
The Markdown coming to Apple Notes is actually a pretty big deal because
Yeah.
that is the one reason why I have not been using Apple Notes like as my main note-taking app because
Yeah.
everything is kind of like stuck there in Apple Notes formatting, and that's kind of it. And I jump around too much. I want to see if you can export these notes, because if you can export them in Markdown, import them into another note-taking app that supports Markdown. Did anyone mention that? But if you could do that, that's huge.
I want to double check, but I think you can.
Because then that makes it a truly like interoperable note-taking app, which means that I can use it.
Yeah. Fire. So there you have it.
Cool beans.
Computers.
What is computer?
All of them are named number 26. All of them.
We need to clip those two clips together.
we will have reviews, of course. I mean, watch the recap video on the main channel if you haven't already seen it, but there will be like full-on videos of all these things because they are so deep and so interesting and so new. Fascinating.
New glass.
We didn't talk at all about Apple Intelligence. I don't think there is much
Neither
new.
did they.
I mean, there's like visual intelligence on screen now. So if you wanted to highlight something in a
Circle to
screenshot,
search.
it's like circle to search. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. I like the new screenshots. Just like
the UI.
The new screenshots UI is really cool. Okay, this actually makes a lot of sense, and it helped me sort of understand why the Pixel Screenshots app exists, especially after talking to a lot of normies. But when you take a screenshot, now it puts you into this new interface where you can mark it up. You can do the classic markup thing. Mm-hmm. What was the other thing you could do with it?
Well, if there was text in it of like if you took a picture of if you took a screenshot of like someone inviting you to an event, it would have a single button to add it to your Apple Calendar.
Right.
Or if you took a screenshot of some product, it would allow you the opportunity to like reverse image search that product. It would show you, it would highlight a button for you at the bottom, depending on the context of what you take a screenshot of.
Indeed.
Which is smart.
None of that stuff is showing up on mine, but maybe
that
it will.
may
Maybe
be
it will
coming
eventually.
soon.
Beta 1, baby.
Yeah.
If they had announced all of these features at last year's Dub, and then at the end been like, and all of these cool things are powered by like Apple Intelligence, I think it would have gone over a lot better.
Yeah, there are some things in these updates that are technically AI, but they're not as explicitly saying this is AI or this is Apple Intelligence. And I thought that was interesting. Yeah. It is the Apple way.
Presenting Apple Intelligence as an omnipotent force that is too perfect for us to comprehend as mortals. Like the idea that like, oh, you wonder how that works? It's Apple Intelligence. And just leave it there. That's perfect. That's great.
That's Apple.
Yeah, it's very Apple.
I do think that they have traditionally like used, like, remember when Math Notes came out and everyone was like, oh, is this using AI? And they're like, no, it's just machine learning. Like, I really like when Apple just downplays like how amazing the technology they can make is. And I felt like this Dub they were doing that again. They kind of like, they talked about Apple Intelligence at the very beginning, kind of shoved it to the side, and it just felt like a Dub before AI forced them to create Apple Intelligence, which nobody wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it felt like an Apple that was not under the pressure of the stock market. So, yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
I
Should I install the beta on my phone or not yet? Is it buggy as hell?
Well, are you an alpha or are you a beta?
Well, should I put it on my main phone?
I'm maining it.
Any regrets? It's been like
it restarted twice this morning.
Jesus. Okay, I'm not gonna do it.
But other than that,
I'm waiting.
Other than that, and it gets really hot, like really hot.
Is it like blasting through battery?
It's not really. I'm at 65%.
All right, I'm gonna wait. I'm at 40. Oh, because I was a flight this morning. That's why.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Do you want the glass UI or do you not? Liquid.
I'll probably put it on a secondary phone. That's not my main phone. Okay. And play with it there.
Are we not allowed to talk about the liquid ass flub? Because it was funny.
We can.
Can we not talk about that?
No, we can. I mean,
liquid ass.
I've been trying not to say it this entire podcast. Yeah. I like to believe that like Tim Cook had to personally re-upload a new YouTube thumbnail for this one.
Well, people need to know. Okay, so they put out.
What are you talking about? Explain it.
They put out a YouTube video that was talking about liquid glass, and the YouTube play button logo that automatically goes over it covered the G and the L, so it just said liquid ass, which is really funny. And then everyone memed it online, and then they changed the thumbnail. So now it's left aligned and things are stacked instead of it being centered. Anyway, it was really funny.
Well, There's only one more thing left to do this episode. I think you know what it is.
Were you paying attention?
That's right. Another event means another installment of Were You Paying Attention? We're all familiar with the joke of Apple's crack product marketing team traveling around California getting inspirations.
Why is it called crack?
Crackpot.
Like
Not really, right?
no, that isn't that what it is? It's like, oh, he's a crack investigator.
Yeah.
Not like a crack investigator, but like
Can you explain this?
I'll be honest, I've only ever heard it when Craig said it.
Yeah. Same.
no, it's a thing.
Every year, one time I hear somebody say crack, and it's Craig.
Wait, can I just double check?
No, it's a thing.
Coincidence.
Someone asked Gemini.
All right, well, you guys are figuring that out. I need to
I
test
have the
something.
transcript up. Crack. When you use crack as an adjective like this, it can only apply to a team, a crack team of people.
Really?
Yes, and it dates back to the late 1700s in English. So everyone can say, "I'm sorry, Ellis."
I agreed with you.
Cutting it, so
You're cutting it.
absolutely.
You're cutting my hilarious.
We can't talk about
Crack
cocaine on
investigator?
this podcast.
Welcome back, trivia. This is definitely the first time we recorded me saying this question, and not because I totally misspoke. But Craig Federighi made his normal joke of Apple's crack team of product marketers traveling around California, getting inspiration for the new name. But this time he mentioned a weekly ski trip that this team takes.
mandatory.
Yeah, it was a weekly mandatory ski trip. That was so funny. Wow. You know, Craig, sometimes you really hit him with the zingers. But he used one particular very un-Apple word to describe the tracks left in the snow during the ski trip. What was that word? Hit it.
Very un-Apple word.
Very un-Apple word.
Wait, play the Were You Paying Attention sound.
Were you paying attention?
Thanks.
Wow, layers.
There's layers to this.
Un-Apple.
Un-Apple, very not Apple. I've never heard anything like this word used in any sort of Apple presentation. All right, who wants to go first?
Did you write fat? That's awesome.
Fat with a PH, which unfortunately isn't correct.
I wrote something with the Google Play buttons covering it up, and I can't read it, so it must be right. I wrote glistening.
Oh, no. Unfortunately.
I wrote Google.
I love that answer, but unfortunately it is wrong. The correct answer is...
But macOS demands more. Fortunately, after carving some bodacious tracks,
The word was bodacious.
That's very
The
Apple.
word was
That's pretty
bodacious.
Extremely Apple-like.
That is not Apple.
No, it's extremely Craig, like Craig's skit Apple.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, man.
That music, that was bodacious type music.
Well, you all got that one wrong.
Yeah.
But before I give you the chance to get another question wrong, I'm going to pass it to my co-host, Adam, who's going to update you on the scores.
Marques with 25. Andrew with 16. David, how old are you?
I'm 30.
With 30.
Hey, yo.
All right. So next question. In the first frame of the WWDC 25, 26? I don't know. In WWDC, the first frame, Craig is riding in an F1 car. Mm-hmm. He's got a helmet. Tell me what one of the ads are on his helmet.
You didn't ask how old I was.
Marques, how old are you?
25.
25.
25.
You know what's better than 25?
26. 30.
I think this might be the largest lead anyone has ever had.
What brand would Apple associate with?
Literally.
I didn't see a single ad on there that I thought was a real thing. I thought they were all fake.
They're all real.
So I just made up some letters that I think I saw.
Okay, great. You might get it right.
Flip them and read.
Wow.
Did I?
No.
I'm
But
close.
you're
though?
closer than I
wrote
thought you would have got.
IFX.
You're 30% there.
Is it like
FTX?
IFN?
No, you're
INF?
30%
I
there.
should have guessed FTX.
You only got one right.
X?
Yeah.
Gonna give it to you.
Is it really X?
Okay.
IFX.
Wrong. Marques.
I have two.
Okay.
Expensify,
Correct. That was one of them.
Geico.
No, not Geico.
There was an Expensify?
Expensify was one of the ads on his helmet. Marques was paying attention.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Did you look
David?
it up?
No. You know how I remember this? I'll tell you after.
Okay.
I'll tell you after you give your answer.
Siri.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My answer is they have that Formula One car sitting in Apple Park, and they paraded us all over to go look at it.
I didn't get to see it.
And the first thing I was thinking was, how did they get all these brands to agree to all of this? And I remember that Expensify was right on the nose cone.
Dang.
Andrew was actually very close as well.
What was the close to?
He was close. He said, what'd you say?
IFX.
IFX.
APX? Oh, that's what I was
APX,
thinking.
and then you were also close to IWC. So
I
I
was
think you
thinking
combined the two.
APX.
Oh, there is a shell one.
No, that's an actual Formula One driver.
Oh.
But Shark, Ninja are on there.
Like the streamer.
Like the blender.
A
Blender company has enough money for that?
Dude, Ninja is not. Ninja has money.
Dude, it's not just a blender, bro.
It's a way
way.
of life. It's not a gym.
There's the first frame right there. Huh.
That's crazy.
Expensify.
It is kind of being obfuscated.
Yeah. Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah, I still wonder how the brands thing work, but we don't know the answers. They probably won't tell us the answers, but hey, it's a movie you can watch at some point, probably in like a month. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening and for tuning in with us this week as we plowed through all this WWDC stuff. There will be more coverage of this stuff because we want to use them. We want to show it on camera. We might find some cool features, some hidden stuff you didn't see in the keynote, etc. That always happens every year, so get subscribed to the other channels, just like you're subscribed here to see that when it comes out too. See you next week. Peace.
Bye.
Waveform was produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Riven. We're partnered with the Vox Media Podcast Network, and our outro music was created by Vane Sill.
Bingo. Did you listen to the rest of Streetlight Manifesto? Oh my god.